Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Saturday's episode of the program Shagalinko TV. It's good to have you all here once again, and thanks for always joining us every Tuesdays and Saturdays, 2 p.m. West African time. We've been looking at renewable energy for a while now. It's also been a topic of discussion in the front burners of CSDevNet and PACJA, and that's why we on Shagalinku we're also taking that as one of our topics. Last week, Saturday, we also had Dr. Sam Ogala all the way from Solidaridad in Accra, Ghana, where we talked some more about renewable energy and a smoother energy transition. So today we'll be taking it a little more and taking it further, and we'll be looking at the realities of energy transition and actualization of the Nigerian Vision 30-30-30. What it is, what it means to us as citizens, and what it means to us as a country, and how far we've gone in this race. Anyway, I have my guests here, two of them. I have Stephen Abu, he's the Advocacy and Stakeholders Engagement Manager for CSDev, and I have JIATA EKELE. She's an innovative climate stroke environmental activist, CSDevNet, and together we'll be doing all this. We're streaming live in 3 destinations: Shagalinku TV Facebook page, Shagalinku TV YouTube page, and also Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari's Facebook page. These are the 3 destinations. And yes, you can also drop a comment. Just write in the comment section questions, comments, and what you have for our guests, and they will be responding. If you're watching us live now, either from Facebook or YouTube, do us a favor by sharing the link of the live video right now so that others can join, and then we'll have a robust conversation. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and it's exciting to be here with all of you. Anyway, let me bring in my guests, and we'll talk some more as we progress. Stephen, are you there? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ambassador Gambari, and the entire crew of the Shagalinku TV. Thanks for having me this afternoon.
It's a pleasure having you. I'd like you to tell us a little more about yourself. Maybe there are aspects that we forgot to mention, or there are aspects you'd like our viewers to also know about Steve. Why don't you go ahead and let us know before we go on to the program?
Well, I wouldn't want to bore you all with all that I do, all that I stand for, but permit me to tell you that I am a passionate advocate of the environment. I'm looking forward to how my generation will leave this planet safer and better for the next generation. I remain Abu Stephen. I'm with Climate and Sustainable Development Network of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you. So I know we'll be having a whole lot of discussion as the program progresses, but let's come to JIATA. JIATA, how are you doing?
I'm very well.
Okay. What else should we be looking out for when we hear the name JIATA? Who is JIATA, and what else? Are you also passionate like Mr. Stephen?
Yes, I'm passionate about the environment, and I'm an activist. Activism is what I do to pay for living on this earth, and we want to leave this planet earth better than we met it. We want to have a better environment for our children, an environment that is um, climate free, resilient, and just.
Thank you very much, JIATA. So let me come to you, Steve. And by the way, thank you, Mohammed Shamsuddin Ibrahim. It says hashtag Energy Transition NG. Thank you for joining. And yes, when you send in your messages or questions or comments, please do also let us know where you're watching us from. It is very important. And please do also share the link of the video right now, the live video link right now, so that others can join. Let me come to you, Stephen. So much has been said about energy transition. You know, how important is it for us as a country, and how important is it for us as citizens and community members?
Thank you. Recently, I made a statement, and well, people began to engage me on several fronts, and why I said so. And I'm going to make that same statement here this afternoon, that energy transition is a reality. Renewable energy is the future for any nation, particularly for a developing nation like ours, Nigeria. Now, why is it important? By the time we'll move into adopting this renewable energy, by the time we totally transit from this dirty energy, the fossil fuel that we use, and we move to cleaner energy, what happens is that we now have a safer environment, as well as an improved economy. Because once we transit from this fossil fuel and we make energy available, it's going to help a lot of businesses. It's going to improve our capital income. So I dare to say again that this energy transition we are talking about, as a matter of fact, is the best decision for any developing nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask if Jetta has anything to add to this from what Steve has just said. And I like the fact where he talked about energy transition as being a necessity. I mean, we've come to that point where there is no going back. What do you have to say, Jetta?
Let me just begin by um, drawing a line to what we really mean by this energy transition. When we say energy transition, we are simply saying a global shift in the energy sector from fossil fuels and all that relates to fossil fuels to renewable energy. This transition comprises of both the production line and then the means of consumption of that energy sector. We are saying that we don't want to have coal mines, we don't want to have crude oil extractions, that is production. We want to have renewable energy. And also, instead of the methods of consumption that relate to these fossil fuels, like our normal petrol cars, we want to have electric cars. We want all our consumption lines that has to do with electricity to be renewable and sustainable, to be free of anything that has adverse climate change impact. That is what we mean by this energy transition. And to add to what Mr. Steve has said, this energy transition is important because renewable energy is the only form of transition that can minimize the environmental impact of fossil fuels in the environment right now. From the time that fossil fuels were discovered during the industrialization age, it has been proven that the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has greatly increased to the point that over the past 150 million years, there has not been any kind of increase like the one we are currently experiencing. The only way we can minimize this is to stop the use of fossil fuels from the production line to the consumption line. And renewable energy is also renewable. It doesn't get exhausted. We want to be mining coals and we want to be getting all the crude oil we want. If we continue in this way, it is not sustainable. It will get finished one day. The price of crude oil in Nigeria now, it's not the same like when it was first discovered in the 1970s and 1980s. Why? Because it is not sustainable. You don't expect it to keep increasing when it's everywhere and it's causing so much harm. Renewable energy it doesn't get exhausted. Solar energy is always there as long as the sun is shining. We have the wind, we have water. So this is what we are saying. Renewable energy is also less expensive and reliable. It is quite convenient. You can't compare the use of electric stove to the use of firewood. Ask our mothers, they'll tell you the difference. So this is what we are saying.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jetta. Even though our mothers will tell you that the taste is sweeter when there is when there is fire and all that and the smoke that comes from it and everything. Okay, Steve, let me come back to you. And thanks to everyone who's been dropping messages. I'm trying to pick out one that we had before, but I'll read it as the program progresses. But Steve, you talked about how it has become a necessity for us when it comes to energy transition. So, what are some of the success stories, that will encourage us? Because, like 10, 15 years back, a lot of the campaigns and advocacy we're doing now seemed unrealistic or unachievable. People never knew there would be a time we'll need to move from one pattern of using one brand of television to another. People never knew that we would need to leave the normal bulb light that we used to know that was heavier to a lighter and more friendly, environmental friendly one. So, what are some of the success stories that you'd like to let us know about Nigeria's energy transition?
Yeah, well, that is a very good one. Now, in the first place, I want us to know that the major benefit of this renewable energy we are talking about is the fact that it's going to help us all globally to achieve our target of reducing carbon emission to the barest minimum. Like JIATA did rightly say, the CO2 emission has always been on the increase and has continued to increase. Now, one of the effective ways, please, I want you to know this. Climate change crisis globally remains one of the major crises that humans are being faced right now. And fighting it should be the goal of everybody. And we are saying one of the ways or the major way to curb this menace of climate change is by going renewable. Let's go to renewable energy. Let's move away from the continuous burning of this fossil fuel. So we are saying let's change from that place. And when we move away from that place, some of the advantages, what we are going to gain from this is the fact that we are going to depend now on a more reliable energy source. Like JIATA rightly said, now we have the abundance of this energy source, which is the sun, that will continue to be shining. We are not going to run out of the sun. We are not going to run out of the wind. We are not going to run out of the biomass, because all this we have them in abundance. As long as humans are eating, they are making use of raw materials, we are going to be having abundance of this. So, and that is why we call it renewable. Now, and when we do this, one thing we have discovered is that the power that we have been lacking, power that has not been sufficient for the people, will become sufficient as we now have the abundance of this. Take, for example, countries where these are being practiced presently in a larger proportion have been able to get rid of wastes. Waste has been a major challenge all over the world. You know, like a country like Nigeria, on just agricultural products, we have about 9.1 million tons of waste annually. So why should we allow this to just be wasted, and not just being wasted, but becomes a nuisance, become, you know, we litter the society with this waste. So one of the benefits we are going to have is that we'll now have a cleaner society, a healthy society, and then we'll now have abundance of power, you know, whereby a woman in the village that wants to dry agricultural produce will no longer be making use of fire, for example, smoking of fish. Now they now depend on solar powered system where they can make effective use of the sun right there to dry their produce. You know, these are many benefits that comes with moving from this dirty energy to clean energy, and we are looking forward to harness this opportunity. You know, one important thing about this transition is that it's going to be of benefit to those the people in urban area and then the people in rural area, as everybody will now have access to energy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very wonderful one. In case you just joined us, the program is Shagalinko TV, and my name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. And we're looking at the reality of energy transition and actualization of Nigeria's Vision 30-30-30. And together we're doing this, and we're asking you to also drop your comments in the comment section, and we'll be reading them, either comments or questions and all that. And let me also say here that this episode is proudly supported by PACJA and CSDevNet. So thanks to all of you, and thanks for the support. Okay, I have my guests here. I'm still talking with Steve Abu and JIATA EKELE, and both are from CSDevNet. I'll take one question here, and both of you can respond, and then we'll take it up from there. But first, let me start with the ones on the screen. Mohammed Wara says, we really appreciate. Omede Caleb says, watching from Lagos, I appreciate the preambles by both guests. Another one here is from Aliyu Umar Sadiq. It says, this is a wonderful topic that everyone must listen to. Well done, Shagalinko, and to our esteemed speakers. Okay, I'll come back to Lucky's message, but let me take this one here, and Steve and EKELE, you can respond to it. It's from Ofwani, and it says, how proactive and effective are the various stakeholders in realization of energy transition come 30-30-30? Can we start with you, Stephen, and then we'll come to JIATA? By the way, Ofwani Praise is sending us this message from Lagos. Thank you, Ofwani Praise. So over to you, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ugwanyi. I just hope I called the name correctly. Thank you for coming live on this program. You know, this particular question is actually an eye-opener to the essence of this meeting, essence of this program. Now, number one, you actually question the action, the effort of all the stakeholders that should be put together in the actualization of this Vision 30-30-30. Now, number one, when you even talk about stakeholders, who are they? Who are we expecting? Who are those people we are looking forward to? Of course, number one, big time, is the government. And of course, when we say government, as our government operates in Nigeria, we have the federal, we have the state, and we have the local government. Now, these are actually the drivers of this transition we are talking about. Now, before I begin to analyze how effective we have all been, again, I want you to know another major stakeholder when it comes to this issue of transition we are talking about are the civil society organization. When you talk about civil society organization, I'm talking about NGOs that are in the cities. I'm talking about community-based, organizations. We are all stakeholders. And do you know another major stakeholders? These are people I expect to drive action. And these are people in the rural areas. Now, it is said that in Nigeria presently, about 30 to 40% of people live in darkness without light. And a bulk of these people are in rural communities. And if these people are there, and we are expecting such transformation to get to them, the first thing that should happen is that these people we are expecting to hold the government accountable should themselves be informed. And there is where you talk about awareness. You talk about campaign. You talk about, advocacies. Now, we are trusting on civil societies to move to these people, sensitize them. Number one, of the need to move away from the fossil fuel to the renewable energy. When you talk about this transition, what should it be? What does it mean to them? They need to be sensitized. And then, you remember, these are people who live in the dark without power. So now you need to educate them on the need, why they need it, how it will affect their businesses. And then collectively, we can now begin to do this. Now, it's so unfortunate that we operate in a system that, political matters, or let me say election matters or election materials, can get to any level. It can get to any community, any village in Nigeria, but not development. Development do not know the way to the communities. So, and we are trying to say, look, it is time for all of us to come together, put action together, and realize this. So what is expected of people in the rural communities is to begin to hold their representative in government, accountable for the reason why they are living where they are and what should be done. What is their demand? They should make their demand known. Let their voice be known. And then civil society organization. It is true that this day we have so many sponsored civil society organizations. We have so many registered NGO, and we know the people who register them just keep them there to use them to serve their own purpose and not to actually serve the society as it's supposed to be. And so in such instances, you see, when you want to begin to campaign against somebody in power, and then all of a sudden you will see somebody appear from nowhere doing a counter protest that they will now tell you, a protest for the person in government. And so many times they try to render this work, this advocacy, less effective. But we are not going to relent. Let this civil society organization that are for the people go to the community, tell them what this gap is and how to bridge it. And then we cannot have a unified, all-encompassing voice that the government will listen to pressurize them. Why am I saying this? Well, I tell you the truth. I came on this program this afternoon not very happy because of some of the things you will be hearing me say as we progress. Because in a real sense, do you know that in the name of transiting, some of the projects that are in our communities are just funny? And then when these people see sample of such projects, they now see that they will now begin to think that they actually do not even need that project. Number one, I give you an example. And now we are talking about empowering the rural areas with solar energy. And then you see somebody come to a community that are about 5,000 persons, and then you mount 4 or 5 poles of street lights powered by solar. And then it will be tagged renewable energy program in the rural communities. Of what benefit is a street light to somebody who do not have a street? Of what benefit is the street light to somebody who do not have a bulb in his room? Of what benefit is a street light to a community that has no single, modern machines helping them to mill their farm produce? And so when we want to go into this, how to garner action for this, I want you to know that we are all not been doing enough. For example, I just talked a little about the government. And of course, I just talked about the community who do not even know to what extent this solar energy, this clean energy, this transition we are talking about could be to them. And of course, the civil society that are enlightened, a number of us are not so empowered to begin to carry out this sensitization and probably partner with, non-governmental organizations like international, organizations that will want to donate and make an effective solar power available for even if it's one community. Let me just rest for now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. It's still the Saturday's edition of Shagalinko, and I'm having two very great minds having a conversation with us on the reality of energy transition and actualization of Nigeria Vision 30-30-30. I'll take a few messages here, and I'll also pop some on the screen for you and JIATA to read. This one is from Dr. Sam Ogala, all the way from Accra, Ghana, and it says, "Well done, Steve, JIATA, and Shagalinko TV." Thank you so much. JIATA, if you can see this one from Usman Adu Ojo, please kindly read and see if we can respond if it's a question.
Okay. Usman said, following from Lagos, well done, Pastor Steve and EKELE. Is there any way this could be achieved without depending on the government? The person
Okay,
is
so who is going?
asking.
Yeah, so who is going first? JIATA, are you going, or Steve will respond first? Ladies first, anyway.
Okay, Usman, like Pastor Steve has been saying, he has been highlighting the roles that we all have to play in the reality of this energy transition in Nigeria. So, if your question is without the government at all, without any part of the government, can this energy transition be realistic? My answer is no. The government has a part to play. They are major drivers in this energy transition, but they are not the only drivers. The civil societies have their part to play. The private sectors and private companies that are into this renewable energy, they have their part to play. Research, development, and the education sector, our schools that do research in this renewable energy sector, they have their part to play. So we all have our part to play, and it's not totally a government issue, and we can't do it without the government.
Okay, Steve, what do you have to also contribute to that question about if this could be achieved without depending on the government?
Uh, Sorry, permit me to first appreciate. I saw a comment from Dr. Sam Ogala from Solidaridad, West Africa, all the way from Ghana. Thank you very much. We are happy having you on this program. And to Samson from Lagos, thank you very much for that wonderful question. I'm going to answer something slightly different from what JIATA did say. And JIATA bluntly said no, and I choose to say yes. Yes, but it's going to take us donkey years to be able to do that. For example, if Ambassador Gambari, our anchor for this program, chooses to light up a community in Kano, well, I don't know his capacity. He may be able to do that for the whole of Kano, but just imagine just one community. He is with a vision. I am with a vision somewhere in Kogi State, and I want to do that in one community. An individual rises up to power one community per time with the solar energy. That would be possible without government. But you know why? But when we need something to be done on a large scale, for example, like the Vision 30-30-30 of Nigeria's government, looking forward to produce 30,000 megawatts of power. And they are talking about having 30% of that from renewable energy. A lot. It's not what an individual can do. And so all of us must come together. Now, we are saying even if the federal government of Nigeria will not be able to do this on their own, let them partner with, there are a lot of partners over there that will want to come and do something like this. And then you pay over the years gradually. And then you have sufficient energy for your people. So we are looking forward to, we are not going to leave the government out of this, because what government is going to make use of to achieve this is still coming from us, from our collective resources, from our revenue. And so the issue of leaving government out of this fight, it will be a no, no, no. So we are going to hold the government until we are able to achieve this. Thank you, Samson.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll quickly still read some more messages so we don't leave our viewers who appreciated us by sending messages. This is from Blessed Egbechulam Peter Akinloye. It says, great program. Thank you, Blessed. Omede Caleb again says, thanks, Steve. Your concepts are striking. Thank you very much. Emmanuel Bayo says, nice show. This other one from Mohammed, I guess we've taken it before, but let me see if it's okay. There's one here from Lucky Abeng. It says, it is evident that energy transition is currently a big challenge to Nigeria as a nation. Mr. Steve, what role can youth climate activists play in addressing some of these challenges? What do you have to say, sir?
Wow. Thank you all for your warm messages coming in. Well, I want to thank Lucky Abeng. This is a wonderful question. You see, he narrowed down his own question to youth activists. And trust me, Nigeria has a lot of youth activists, and most of them are doing very well in different fields. Well, we are looking forward to, youth activists across Nigeria to emulate something that is currently being done by some group of youth activists with CSDevNet, Climate and Sustainable Development Network, and PAGJA. What are they doing? There are a group of youth activists that are currently engaging the social media and are also carrying out grassroots mobilization among other youth, sensitizing them on the need for this transition. For those of us that are on social media like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, when you get there, just search for what has changed. You will discover this group of activists have been, over some months now, holding campaign. They are engaging the social media, engaging government agencies, and a few times they've gotten some heartwarming responses from these stakeholders. And then we are looking forward to more. If more youth activists will go into action to create their time, even if you are not a defined activist, it is time. But you are watching me right now. It is time for all of us to come together and begin to call for this transition. Go out on your Facebook. Don't just post your pictures. Don't just post your leftover food. Go ahead and demand this energy transition. When this call begins to come from every angle, you will discover that government will be forced to stand and listen to the youth and then begin to take action. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Steve. I'd like JIATA to read another message here before we go on to take the next question that we have. If you can see this, JIATA, please do read from Mohammed Shamsuddin Ibrahim.
Yes, Mohammed Ibrahim said, this is an amazing section ensuring that each and every member of the society is aware of the need for energy transition in Nigeria. That is hashtag energy transition NG.
Thank you very much. I'll come to Steve and ask again on a little about the Paris Agreement, because a lot has been happening, and even when you hear climate activists or environmental activists talk about issues, they still bring back memories of the Paris Agreement. But let me come to JIATA. In all of this energy transition, what role can women and young girls play, knowing that in the villages, women and young girls are the ones saddled with the responsibility for taking care of the home front, the cooking, having to trek miles away to get water and all that. So, and Steve mentioned something about very deplorable situations where projects are done and they put out solar energy or
Street lights.
solar for street lights, yes, and just one or two. I mean, they are forgetting to empower the lives of the people in that community. So what is the role of women and young girls in energy transition?
Yes, the women in the rural communities. We have civil societies at the community levels. We have women organizations.
Hello, Jet, are you there? Hello? Okay, let me come back to Steve. I think Jetta has gone off. Steve, there's a message here for you and EKELE. It's from Usman again. If you can see it, please do read.
I say, thanks for the answer, Pastor Steve and EKELE from Lagos still. What if it's done basically on business for people to pay a token for the service? Does that mean that no one is with the financial capacity to take up as a business? I am saying this because for Nigeria government to be the major drivers, My brother Samson, and I follow you to also say,
Mm.
to follow Nigeria. Well, is very interesting. You see, these are some of the youth that are experienced with what happens to Nigeria. It's not all the youths that are up to date in terms of reality of the way we handle things. For example, this vision 30-30-30, trying to move away from dirty energy and having 30% of this energy from renewable sources. Do you know that there was, when they came up with this national renewable energy and energy efficiency policy that brought about this vision 30-30, in that document, there is a short-term plan, there is a medium-term plan, and then there is that long, term plan. And the short-term plan was for 2015. But it will interest you to know that down to this 2021, the goal set for 2015, we are yet to ascertain as to whether we are there already for the short-term plan or not. And then we talk about the midterm plan that was supposed to materialize in 2020. As I speak to you, we are still far below there. And so actually, depending on government, may not totally take us to where we want to be in terms of this transition. I think Samson do have an idea where we can also have either an individual partnering with probably an industry or an international organization, perhaps to power a community. And instead of paying for the darkness, as some people in the village who just have pole passing through their streets are paying for NEPA bill that they will not see the NEPA. They will not see the light. So why can't an individual or a community partner with an international agency or an industry or a company, something like that, and then they come and power a community and then begin to get back their money, in installment? It is possible. We are not saying we should totally rely on government. Effort like that can be put in place. Perhaps if you have an uncle who is a senator, I bet you what is in the pocket of a senator is enough to carry out such a project as powering just one community per time with this renewable energy. Thank you very much, Samson.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for that very concrete response to him. And thank you to everyone who's been watching us. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but I'd also like you to, I know you've mentioned a few things that PACJA and CSDevNet has been doing, but in our wrapping up, what will be your final words to people? But let me bring back JIATA and see if she could just tell us a little more of what women and young girls need to do to also help out in energy transition. JIATA, if you are back now and you can hear us, could you quickly tell us what you think women and girls can do so that we'll wrap up from there? Over to you, JIATA.
Sorry about my network. It's one of these
It's
things.
okay. Yeah.
So I was saying that they should come together. There's a need for unity among the women groups in the rural communities, and those that are enlightened, women and girls that are enlightened in this renewable energy sector, should take it upon themselves to sensitize others As a lady, as a girl or a woman in these in the urban cities, and you know about renewable energy, when you go to the village for Christmas or for holidays, take it upon yourself to go round to talk to the mothers in the village, grandmothers. Just go round and gather them and tell them about the good life, what renewable energy can do for them, why they need this renewable energy. And yes, that's basically it. I can see that our time is fast spent.
Yeah. Steve, I'd like you to let us have your final words. I know we might just come back for a part two, but then what will be your final parting words to the government, the community, citizens, and even organizations? I know you mentioned organizations as well, that civil societies have a role to play and all that, but in your parting words, what will be your final words?
Well, thank you for this wonderful opportunity again. Permit me to say that more action is required, particularly from civil society organizations. Like what CSDevNet is doing and PACJA in Nigeria. We are not just everywhere making noise. What we do, we carry out awareness, these advocacies to communities, to rural areas. We have tried to empower and we mobilize and empower the women to demand for what belongs to them. We go into a partnership with institutions to as well assess some of these national documents that are that sells more than what is on ground. Recently, you did ask a question earlier. I remember talking about this reference to Paris Agreement, everywhere. Yeah, the NDCs that we are working with today actually came on board as a result of the requirement for the Paris Agreement to become concrete. For a country, every country to come together to tell us, what do you want to do to cut down emission? What do you want to do to reduce the CO2 to below 1.5? And then, that is how we came about the NDCs. And it's in that NDCs that the government came up with the idea of this national renewable energy and energy efficiency policy, where they now came up with this vision 30-30 to now by 2030 achieve this 30% renewable energy, from off grid. And then we started pursuing. So, and since then, this has been on the document, very effective there, and it's not working. Do you know, some of us began to question how we even came about our NDCs. Who wrote them? Was there enough consultation from all parties, from stakeholders? Then we discovered the whole thing was hurriedly done without adequate consultation. There was nothing like town hall meetings, try to know what the community wants and the rest of them. In the process, vital, components were missing. Like recently, CSDevNet with PACJA went into research, studies, and then review of Nigeria's national determined contribution. And then we discovered a gap, and we began to call on the government to include water, hygiene, and sanitation, which the process which is ongoing. The research has been done, completed, and then, so we are not just civil society staying back just on media. No, we go into research, we partner with, international agencies to see what can be done. But seriously, you just asked, the B part of the question is that what is like my parting message? Ambassador, I must tell you this afternoon, I am not so happy. You know why? Initially, when we began the discourse on energy transition, I was so excited. We talk about renewable energy. I was in this campaign with lots of excitement. But presently, I am losing part of that excitement, and you will want to know why. One, now, when we talk about this energy transition, it might interest you to know that some of our government, top officials in this country are making a joke of it. Why did I say that? Now, we are talking about this transition that many of us see as an opportunity for our country to do well economically. Now, I hear somebody boasting on how they are going to import electric cars. I hear somebody boasting on how we are going to import solar panels and batteries, virtually everything, producing none. Don't you think we are going back to the old ways of doing things? I don't see Nigeria taking this opportunity at all. I have seen, a lot of brains in this country, young people coming up with innovation, generating, doing wonderful things, putting together machines that run totally on water, the ones that operate using solar. Why won't our government invest in these young people so we can begin to manufacture what it will take us to depend on this renewable energy, rather than sending our money over there in the name of importing all these things? You import electric cars, you import battery, you import solar panel, you import everything. So how are we going to maximize this opportunity? So if what we mean by energy transition is to import everything and not to sit down to see what we can put together as a country, I will still be disappointed. Thank you for having me on this show, but that is me.
Thank you very much. Jetta, I'd like you to just in 30 seconds, who would you like to send your greetings to? Organizations, persons, people who have supported your advocacy and all that in the next 30 minutes. And we'll come to Steve to also say his own felicitations, and then we'll close for the day.
All right. Let me start by thanking my organization, the Climate and Sustainable Development Network of Nigeria, CSDevNet, and PACJA, for this opportunity to be among the young digital activists and speak about renewable energy transition in Nigeria. Thank you, Shangalinko TV, for this opportunity to reach out and talk about these pressing issues as it concerns us in Nigeria. And Omede Caleb, my friend, has been following. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you, everyone, all the viewers. I believe, as my parting message, I believe that this video will be seen by many people from all across the sectors. And for those in the government, myself and every other young climate activists in Nigeria are aware of the things you are doing. We are aware of the vision 30-30-30, that you proposed electricity of attaining 30,000 megawatts capacity growth by 2030. And you said you're going to do that with 30% inclusion of renewable energy. We are fully aware, and we know our current capacity right now. As the Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Maman, he said that we have grown from 8,000 megawatts to 13,000 megawatts. This was reported in 2020. So we are just around 30 megawatts, 30,000 megawatts. And you said by 2030, we are going to grow to 30,000 megawatts. All the youth climate activists in Nigeria, we are watching you closely, and we are watching all the actions you'll be taking to achieve this. So thank you everyone for this opportunity and for listening. And we believe that this energy transition will be a reality. We are on it, and it will be a reality.
Thank you so much. So, Steve, finally, 30 seconds for you to send your felicitation and greetings to organizations, persons, and people who have supported your advocacy and movement.
Well, I want to thank first the Shagalinku TV, the Ambassador Gambari. You have been on this even when some of us will want to be weighed down on this fight. You have always been there. Try to encourage that we do more for our environment. Thank you, Pagja. Thank you, CSDevNet Nigeria. Thank you, Dr. Ogala, for coming on this program. We appreciate you. Thank you, all my friends, colleagues, climate activists. Thank you for all your warm contributions. See you next time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, all of you and everyone who joined us. I really want to thank my wonderful guests. But before I wrap up, I'd like to read a few messages here so I don't leave them pending. It's from Yusuf Ibrahim. It says, energy business seems to be a lucrative business for capitalists in Nigeria. This has led to conspiracy in blocking energy efficiency and transition in Nigeria. There must be a political will to achieve energy efficiency in Nigeria. Thank you so much for that. And Odosianyene Udunobong says, good job, Ekele. And Yusuf Ibrahim, a third time around or fourth time around, says there must be a political will and intensified advocacy efforts to end um, energy poverty in Nigeria. That's another angle that we will try and look at to, energy poverty. Because looking at what Stephen has talked about, if we are moving to renewable energy and energy transition, and all the government can do is map out plans to start importing, then it's like one step forward and 50 steps backward. So I really like that point about energy poverty in Nigeria. So thank you so much, Yusuf. I think we'll do something on that topic. Omede Caleb says, thanks at JIATA EKELE. Our women need to hear this. This would help them partake in this move, hence leading to the realization of the vision 30-30-30. And Yusuf Ibrahim again says, it is so sad we have a government that doesn't invest in the human capital development of the nation. And then Edion Seyene Udunabong says, consultation, a wide consultation, always lacking in our country's approach to solutions. This must be checked. And lastly, Yusuf Ibrahim says, thank you all. And yes, Yusuf will also say thank you to everyone who joined us. Omede, I was saying lastly from Yusuf, and Omede came up again and says, I am richly blessed thanks to EKELE, Steve, and Shagalinku TV. Thank you so much. So many more messages pouring in, but we have 2 minutes to go and we must wrap up now. So I want to thank everyone who joined us. This is to also say thank you. And this episode is proudly supported by Pagja and CSDevNet. Thank you so much. And yes, thanks to my two very wonderful guests who've been here to talk about this. Starting with Steve Abu. He's the advocacy and stakeholders engagement manager in CSDevNet, and also to JIATA EKELE, innovative climate and environmental activist, also part of CSDevNet. Thank you so much for being wonderful guests on the show today. The videos will still be here. You can watch them after the show. You can also share the link to more people to watch and drop their comments. Remember, I said when we started the show, we were streaming or started off in 3 destinations. So we're streaming live on Shagalinku TV Facebook page. We're streaming live on Shagalinku TV YouTube page, and also on my personal page, Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. Yes, thank you all for that. And keep your comments coming. It also helps us to know what topics to bring, if we can repeat this topic in another form, if we could bring our guests back to talk about something they forgot to also answer. So that's why the conversations is unending. So keep your comments coming. Keep watching the videos and dropping your comments, and we'll get back to our guest on that. I want to really, really thank everyone who joined us. So many of you dropped messages, and I can't start calling your names one after the other. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and don't forget that on Tuesday's edition, we'll be looking at stopping violence against women and children. Particularly, we'll be looking at female genital mutilation, and my guest will be coming all the way from Canada. She's a woman who does film, movies, using movies to talk about societal issues. I'm sure you don't want to miss our Tuesday's edition. Anyway, that's all I'll tell you for today. You want to know who our guest all the way from Canada will be on Tuesday, God willing? Make a date with us here on Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. West African time, and you'll find out for yourself. I want to thank you all, and I say stay blessed, have a beautiful day, stay safe particularly, and God bless you, God bless Nigeria, God bless Africa, God bless the world. From all of us in Shagalinko TV, we say thank you all for watching, and bye-bye.